as we reported earlier, the number of those killed and affected by the floods in KZN is expected to rise, and these, as disaster management teams, are still collating the extent of the damage. The inclement weather conditions in KZN are expected to continue for much of today. Let's get you an update of the situation as it stands at around 20 to 8, bringing the KZN Cooperative Governance Head of Communications, Nonala Ndlovu, who's with us once again via our telephone line. And Nonala, we spoke earlier on at the beginning of the show. The figure of those who had sadly died because of those floods was at 11. Has that changed?
Well, we have had reports of about 20 people who have perished, but those have not been verified because our teams have not been on scene. But in terms of the reports that are coming in, so far we've had reports that 20 people have already lost their lives. But obviously, as we even said earlier, it's a moving target because we continue to receive reports, and until we have sent our teams to the scene and it's confirmed by SAPS, we can't say for sure that it's 20 people, but there are reports of 20 people having perished. That's
important emphasis. So reports of 20, but confirmation of 11 people who sadly have died in the last 24 hours or so.
Even the 11 have not been confirmed. The confirmed are from yesterday. I think the SAPS will now be busy confirming the other reported incidents now, and we'll obviously get an update around 9 o'clock. I'm sure we will have an update from SAPS in terms of what they have confirmed thus far.
All right. Are you able to give us a sense of where some of these fatalities are currently taking place from the reports you're receiving?
Well, from the reports that we have, the fatalities are spread across the eThekwini metro area. We are unable to say exactly at which particular points, but the reports are coming from the eThekwini area.
Is this where you also expect the SANDF to mostly intervene? Because we understand that the government there has also asked for assistance from the SANDF.
Yes, that's where the rains are more severe at this point in time. The other areas are affected, but to a lesser degree.
Speak to us about the kind of assistance that you're hoping to get from the army, Nonala.
Well, it's mostly evacuations that would be requesting, because some areas are waterlogged. They are inaccessible by cars. So where people give reports of floodings and their areas are waterlogged, we would be requesting the assistance of the army.
Yeah, there's also calls for residents, of course, to stay in their homes if that is a safe place to be. But I imagine part of what government is also trying to do is create some kind of safe havens in the various communities themselves.
Yes, the community halls across eThekwini are now open, and if people feel unsafe in their own homes, they are encouraged to move to the community halls, where they would be held for a temporary period, and they will be provided with relief. We already have some organizations starting to volunteer to provide meals for those people that are displaced currently.
Yeah, of course, we can only gauge the impact of what's taking place through various recollections, various accounts on places like social media. I appreciate the story is currently developing as you and I speak, but I'm sure part of what's currently taking place is you taking stock of the extent of the damage and gauging where the real concerns are.
Yes, we are in that process, and currently the teams in eThekwini are collecting the information. We do have reports that the areas around Pinetown, the west side, and also the south are hugely affected, and the teams are heavily on the ground on those areas. But we are also trying to consolidate reports so that we are able to give a global picture in terms of what is happening.
Yeah, and Nonala, before I let you go, I mean, many people will remember how a lot of attention was on KZN in recent history because of the same issues. I mean, as we go from one instance to the next, are you able to speak to us about mechanisms that are currently in place in that province to at least give you alerts in time so that you can ensure that you mitigate any kind of collateral damage that may come from the adverse weather events, which, again, have been quite frequent in KZN, at least relative to any other part of the country?
You see, the challenge about weather patterns is that there is only so much that you can predict. Even the situation, we did issue an alert that there would be heavy downpours over the weekend, but no one could have ever anticipated that it will come to this extent. And the extent of the damage that is happening is far beyond anyone's comprehension. But what we normally do and say is that people must always remain cautious and exercise caution in whatever they do. We even engage with traditional leaders in the settlement of people in their areas, that they must be cautious in terms of where they are settling the people, so that people don't build on flood plains and those areas. And the capacity of our disaster management teams is constantly being improved, but obviously with each incident it becomes even more and even more severe. But it's a moving target. We try as much as possible to be prepared, but then when these incidents hit, you find that you thought you were prepared, but what happens is beyond even your preparation.
All right, Nonala Ndlovu, thanks very much indeed for that update. Really do appreciate it. Nonala is with the KZN Cooperative Governance Department. She's the head of communications there.